Okay. Okay, everyone, I'm going to begin today's session. Everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, Hong Yen, you may
Yes.
begin to do the reading.
Unmanned aerial vehicles, otherwise known as drones, are remotely controlled aircraft which may be armed with missiles and bombs for attack missions. Since the World Trade Center attacks of September 11, 2001, and the subsequent War on Terror, the United States has used drones to kill suspected terrorists in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, Somalia, and other countries. Proponents say that drones have decimated terrorist networks aboard via precise strikes with minimal civilian casualties. They contend that drones are relatively inexpensive weapons, are used under proper government oversight, and that their use helps prevent boots on the ground combat and makes Africa safer. Opponents say that drone strikes create more terrorists than they kill. They contend that drone strikes will kill large numbers of civilians, violate international law, lack sufficient congressional oversight, violate the sovereignty of other nations, and make the horrors of war appear as innocuous as a video game.
Okay. I think the reading that I see was shorter, but that's okay. It's not a problem. Okay, we'll move on to the next member. Jihu, you may do your reading.
Unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, otherwise known as drones, are remotely controlled aircraft which may be armed with missiles and bombs for attack missions. Since the World Trade Center attacks of September 11, 2001, and subsequent war on terror, the United States has used drones to kill suspected terrorists in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, Somalia, and other countries. Proponents say that drones have decimated terrorist networks abroad via precise strikes with minimal civilian casualties. They contend that drones are relatively inexpensive weapons, are used under proper government oversight, and that their use helps prevent boots on the ground combat and makes America safer. Opponents say that drone strikes create more terrorists than they kill.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next is Jie Yi to begin the affirmative debate. You may begin.
I agree in this topic with true reasons which are about less effect and higher succeeding possibility. To start off with, drones are machines, therefore leading to less deaths and injuries between the army, and it gives off less harm to the country. What it means is that when armies attack other countries, then there will be most likely numerous deaths and injuries following and waiting. However, I assure that using drones instead of men would reduce the harm and give more advantages to the US. Drones used as weapons could be a way of being considerate to other people's lives. When they are non-living things, whilst armament are living things in diversity, so using drones while having the characteristic of not being able to be demolished or even dead would be beneficial to the armymen since they wouldn't have to go to face-to-face combat with their targets and the bow. Drones use Furthermore, another advantage is that army men could feel more safe and sufficient when using drones. They have the confidence that drones would be a surefire to defend or attack. Drones overall would be more impactful than I think I people recognize in positive way to help society. Bill Gates quoted, and his quote supports the main point I would like to state and persuade about. And that's right. I do not ever think that drones would be more disadvantages to US. Actually, it is quite beneficial without having to take much time and so much effort to train and provide equipment and weaponries to be successful. To continue, drones are controlled by programmable devices, therefore leading to an exceedingly rate of accidents than humans. A drone strike is typically where an unmanned combat aerial vehicle fires a missile at a target. The drone may be equipped with such weapons as an air-to-surface missile, air-to-air missile. Drone strikes are commonly used to destroy buildings and vehicles. However, they are also used for targeted killings to terrorists or even prisoners who escaped or is still giving harm to residents. Drones would work and activate more smoothly as they would become more dependable. Most of all, drones are able to fly freely due to the wing-like structure that would mostly glide through against the wind and airflow. All these facts and characteristics allow drones to attack terrorists too without harming any more of the residents nearby. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we shall carry on now. Yin-sung?
Okay. So I personally think that United States should not continue its use of drone strikes abroad. I'll start with what happened to Barack Obama. Barack Obama endured two ugly, intractable wars in Iraq and Afghanistan when he became president and sent to work with them. But a third, more covert war he made his own, escalating drone strikes in Pakistan and expanding them to Yemen and Somalia. The drone's founded capability for pinpoint killing appealed to the president, intrigued by new technology and determined to try to keep the United States out of new quagmires. As aide said, Mr. Obama liked the idea of picking off dangerous terrorists a few at a time without endangering Americans' lives or risking the years-long bloodshed of conventional war. By most accounts, hundreds of dangerous militants have indeed been killed by drones, including some high-ranking Al-Qaeda figures such as Baitullah Mehsud and Hakimullah Mehsud. Every independent investigation of the strikes has found far more civilian casualties than administration officials admit. Gradually, it has become clear that when operators in Nevada fire missiles into remote tribal territories on the other side of the world, they often do not know who they're killing, but are making an imperfect best guess. That story included my first point, which is USA might not know who they will be killing. My second point is that by using the drones to assassinate someone, other innocent people may die. This is a true story. 41 men were targeted, but 1,147 people were killed because of those 41 men. An estimated 142 children were killed in the course of pursuing those 24 men, only 6 of them who died in the course of drone strikes that killed their intended targets. So, United States should not continue its use of drone strikes abroad. Thank you.
Okay. Shall go back to Hongyan. You maybe in?
I believe the United States should continue its use of drone strikes abroad. Firstly, drone strikes make the United States safer by decimating terrorist networks across the world. Drone attacks in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, and Somalia have killed upwards of 3,500 militants, including dozens of high-level commanders implicated in organizing plots against the United States. In addition, drone drones make U.S. military personnel safer. Drones are launched from bases in allied countries and are operated remotely by pilots in the United States, minimizing the risk of injury and death that would occur if ground soldiers and airplane pilots were used instead. Next, drones kill fewer civilians. As a percentage of total fatalities than any other military weapon. The traditional weapons of war like bombs, shells, mines, mortars cause more unintended damage to people and property than drones, whose accuracy and technical precision mostly limit casualties to combatants and intended targets. Although estimates vary because of the secretive nature of the program, it is estimated that 174 to 1,047 civilians have been killed in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia since the United States began conducting drone strikes abroad following the September 11, 2001 attacks. Roughly 8 to 17% of all deaths from U.S. drones. Lastly, drone strikes are legal under U.S. law. Presidential power under the Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution allow the use of force against an imminent threat without congressional approval. Additionally, in 2001, Congress passed the Authorization for Use of Military Force, authorizing armed conflict with Al Qaeda and associated forces indefinitely. Also, drone strikes are legal under international law. Article 51 of the UN Charter provides for a nation's inherent right to self-defense when it has been attacked. In conclusion, I believe that the United States should continue its use of drone strikes abroad because firstly, drone strikes makes the United States safer by decimating terrorist networks across the world. In addition, drones make U.S. military personnel safer. Also, drones kill fewer civilians as a percentage of total fatalities than any other military weapon. And lastly, drone strikes are legal under both U.S. and international law. Thank you.
Okay, lots of good points made there. Very good. All right, continue. Jihu, you may begin.
I strongly believe that drone strikes should be illegal in the United States. I have two main reasons to support my statement. Firstly, these drone strikes could target individuals who may not be terrorists or enemies. Former President Obama's policy of signature strikes allowed the military to target anyone who fit the terrorist profile. Somehow, these classified documents of October leaked. In 2015, in a 5-month period of drone strikes to Afghanistan, as many as 90% of the ones who were killed by drone strikes were not the ones who were intended to be targeted. However, these unintended deaths were still classified as enemies killed in action. Linking to the previous reason, my next reason is that drone strikes may create more terrorists than killing them. People, when they see their loved ones being killed or injured by drone strikes, become motivated to join actions against the United States. According to the author Jeremy Cahill, majority of the militants operating in Yemen are people who are aggrieved by attacks on their homes that forced them to go out and fight, and that support in Yemen against the United States is spreading and merging with the mounting rage of crimes at U.S. counterterrorism policy. In the Arabian Peninsula, core members grew from 300 in 2009, when U.S. drone strikes resumed after 7 years, to 700 in 2012, resulting a great increase in the terrorists. Thank you.
Okay. And back to JE for a conclusion.
To conclude, all my points, I prefer drone strikes than face-to-face combat, as it makes the country and army safer without giving such a high possibility of failure or malfunction. As drone attacks would further develop, I do believe that the technology and innovation abilities would increase with more accuracy. To assure the reliability and advantage of the country, I believe that, and I believe and support drone strikes rather than having to face with such harsh training for the army. The country invented and presented on the idea of using drones instead of more army men. Therefore, I do not agree at all on the reason why we should prevent and complain of their method and plots to attack other territories. Whilst is their territory and it's their own business and mind to decide what to use and how to plot for any other strikes or attacks. Thank you.
Okay. And Yun-sung, your conclusion. You're muted, Yun-sung.
To conclude, the United States should not continue its use of drone strikes abroad because it is not accurate, as if in assassinating people from a long distance, and many other innocent people may be assassinated by the use of drone strike, which is not wanted in any country. If a lot of people are killed because a person was wanted to be killed during a drone strike, who's gonna take the responsibility? Anyway, using a machine or a human, killing of human beings should be banished from the screen and Blue Planet. Thank you.
Okay, good conclusion. Alrighty. So, how's that? Nothing? Yeah, it's quiet today, huh? All right, let's start with Yun-sung. So, regarding your debate first, you had. I really like it when you start using a true story. That's always a good thing, and I think you know that. That's definitely a strong point you use, and you also use some good stats. I was kind of disappointed in the time you could have used it up. I don't know what sort of resource you used to plan for this debate. Do you use the procon.org? Is that what it's called?
No,
You don't use that. What do you use?
like from like a lot of other websites, I take
From
like
another
shit.
web?
Yeah.
Okay, try and extend it a bit. Maybe if you practice the debate before this come, maybe take from 7:30 onwards. You do a quick practice and just see what time you're at, because you could have tried to squeeze in a bit more. I think just to back up your points a lot more. It would have been nicer, but overall is good. And the beginning you targeted a positive rather than a negative, really, by saying that they take out big names like of the people in Al Qaeda and stuff, when you really do need to push your negative side of the debate as to why you're against the use of drones and not. Because I know you did also back that up with it doesn't always kill them, or it kills a lot of innocent people along with it. But the main that can be a hold that the positive side can have on you that could beat could beat your debate points. But as usual, your speech is really good, pronunciation is really good. Yeah, and your conclusion was better than last time. I like that one. You brought up your points again, and you used reasons to why you are on that side of the argument, and that's why you support that side. You're not going against it or anything. It was very clear where you stood. Really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Then we shall go to Hongyun. Were you nervous today?
Yeah, but
A little bit? I could tell. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like you didn't have much time to practice much. I think you need to practice the reading itself. Just take 15 minutes if it needs to be, 20 minutes, and just read through everything. Because these debates are only lasting. I mean, your debate was very long. You went over the time. So you had a lot of content you had to like remember and get right when you're reading it and stuff like that. Everything, the content was really good, but I just felt you really did just lack a bit of precision when you're speaking. But that is just practicing. That's just if you read the words, you learn the words, then you're gonna be much more confident going into a debate, and you won't slip up on a few words then. Regarding your reading as well, there was a part in the reading. I think I have it here somewhere. That was. Let me find it. Sorry about this. The quote that says "War on Terror." I kind of you have to try and make sure that quote is strong, so you can so people can understand it's a quote. I think did you slip up on the word subsequent? Because then it might. That was you. Okay. So because that can sometimes lose it if you can't get that sentence leading up to it right. So since the World Trade Center attacks of September 11th, 2001, and the subsequent war on terror, the United States has used drones, etc. You need to break that sentence apart so that people understand that you're quoting something and not just reading through a paragraph. If you can get that into your speech, great, really good. But like I said, I think you just need to take a couple more minutes before the debate starts just to practice your reading. Okay? But everything else was good. Your content is really good. You use a lot of good points. And you did use a lot of points. Okay. That's all. Then JE.
Yes.
So you had a bit of a connection issue. So I tried to. I was really trying to focus on what you were saying. As always, I'm never too worried about your speech itself. Your speech is usually really good. I think did you pause a few more times in this one than usual? I couldn't tell if it was lag or whether it was you.
Yeah, but then there was I also paused just a few times, but then the connection also
That's okay.
Before there was a blackout and the internet went ding.
Oh, that's okay. No worries. No problem.
Yeah.
You made really good points. Along with you used reasons to back up each point you were making, which is really good. Using a reason as to why you're saying something is going to solidify that meaning behind it. Using a quote from Bill Gates is good because Bill Gates, as you know, is a very influential man in today's society. Do you know who Bill Gates is?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I liked how you expressed your knowledge on the use of drones and stuff. It looked like you really looked into it. And again, you backed that up with the positive sides of the use of these drones. And then your conclusion was very smooth, and you just reiterated your points, which was good closing. And you made it obvious where you stood in the debate and where your team stood. That was good. And finally, Jihu. The speed on your reading, as usual, is very good. And then, of course, your subsequent slip up, that's just practice. That's just practice. You just need to read them. If I look at a language myself, so say I can speak German. That's my second language. So you guys have a second language of English, correct? It's not your first language. So if I look at some German words, if I was doing my German lessons, I would have to read it first, because if I don't read it first before I have to stand up and debate it, I might mess up a few of the words, because German words are hard. And German and English are quite similar in how letters are pronounced. So when you have to look at something like subsequent, where you have to pronounce every single part of the word, you're not dropping a letter or anything like that. That's just needs the practice. Okay. Everything else was great for your reading, though. Regarding your debate, you had a really good beginning because you briefed that what the debate's going to include. Well, not include. You said that you have these amount of points that you're going to make, and then you had good structure to it by saying how your first point linking it then with your second point. I think your ending was very abrupt. You know what I mean? When I say abrupt, you stopped very. I didn't think it was the end. I was surprised you were finishing then, and I think you could have maybe dragged it on a little bit more or made it more obvious you were ending your debate. Yeah? Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I think, and also, of course, Jihu, your points were really good that you made, and statistics you used were correct. Okay, anyone have any questions?
No.
No.
No questions? All right. So I have to announce a winner, don't I? So you guys have that screen up, right? You can see it in Discord. So this one will be a surprise. Okay. All right. You guys see it? On the little window? Okay. I think the affirmative team won this one. For the
Oh, that's me. Sorry. Thought it was the other team again.
no, so this time I think, yeah, the points, there was a lot more points to be said. Jihu and Yunsung, you needed to really make sure you use up your time, and that's gonna come if you practice it a bit more. Practice the debate, and you'll realize, oh, from the other times we've done it, you've realized. I mean, Yunsung, you would pump out statistics after statistics and statistics, and you would still be under 2 minutes sometimes. But this time you didn't have as much content, and you lacked in the time. If you just add another point, you'll drag it on another minute maybe. So, yeah, I think just Hongyun and Jae had a lot more to say this time, which gave them the win.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions?
No.
No. All right then. I will see you guys next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.